Now, in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, and this is the epistle of Paul that we're looking at, he introduces to us in the opening 3 verses this term, the day of the Lord. Let me read those verses to you. Now, as to the times and the epochs, brethren, you have no need of anything to be written to you, for you yourselves know full well that the day of the Lord will come just like a thief in the night. While they are saying peace and safety, then destruction will come upon them suddenly, like labor pains upon a woman with child, and they will not escape. There in verse 2, we are introduced to the day of the Lord. That's where history's going. The day of the Lord is not a popular theme for preachers. It should be, but it isn't. Preachers want to make people feel good. They want to affirm people. They want people to believe that they are loved, even by God. They want to bring comfort. So it's not popular to preach on wrath or vengeance or judgment or condemnation or hell. But it is essential. The day of the Lord is coming and obviously is nearer than it has ever been. Now, Paul was faithful to preach the day of the Lord. In preaching the gospel to them, he told them about the wrath to come, eternal wrath, the day of the Lord, and subsequently following the day of the Lord, eternal punishment in the lake of fire. He told them that so that they were waiting for his Son from heaven who would come to rescue them from the wrath to come. You could say they were waiting for the snatching away, and they were waiting to be rescued from God's final day of the Lord wrath. This was essential to his ministry of preaching the gospel, to warn people about the wrath to come. Chapter 5, where we are, look at verse 9. God has not destined us for wrath, but for obtaining salvation through our Lord Jesus Christ. Again, the gospel comes to those who are told about the coming wrath and want to know how to escape it. So he was a faithful pastor. Even with a brief time in Thessalonica, he made sure they understood that salvation saved them from not just a lack of purpose in their life, but eternal wrath. Believers will be snatched out. The Lord is going to meet us in the air. The next event on God's prophetic calendar is the snatching of the church. Those that are dead, their bodies will come out of the grave first, if they're believers, and those that are alive will be caught together with them and taken to heaven. We meet the Lord in the air. This is not the Lord coming to earth to judge. This is not the Lord coming to earth to set up his kingdom. There's no judgment in that event. That event is mentioned in John 14 and 1 Corinthians 15, and this passage, 1 Thessalonians 4, 13 to 18, no judgment. We will be snatched and kept from the hour of wrath, the hour of judgment. That is the next event. And Paul wanted to tell these Thessalonian believers that they would be rescued from that, whether they were dead or alive. They would be taken up in that rapture, so that verse 18 says he could comfort them, because some of them were sad, thinking that the believers who died would miss that event. And the Lord told them through Paul, no, the dead will rise first in their glorified bodies, and the rest of us will be joined to the Lord in the air, and will go to heaven to be with him in the place that he is preparing for us now. That is the snatching of believers, all believers across the face of the globe. There's no sign for that event. There's no timing for that event. There are no preliminary events. It's what we call imminent. It could happen at any time, and believers since New Testament times have been living in anticipation of that event. You say that's 2,000 years, yes, but that's on a human side. In God's kingdom, a day is as 1,000 years, Peter says, and 1,000 years is a day. And why is God waiting? You say he's waiting until all the elect redeemed have come to faith.